Zoloft to get your head right.
Oh yeah, what's up, head right homies? Welcome to the Zoloft, your head right hangout. Hey, I hope that your Wednesday, the hump day, man, that you guys have reached the summit of your week. But you know what? That's just one summit. May it launch you into another summit as you guys head for the weekend and your week just keeps on getting groovier from here. Right on, man. And we try to do our part, man, to help y'all have a groovy week here in the Zoloft. So we about to serve up that dose. You know you want some, I want some, I want some. All right, I was like, I'm coming like through your hood, man. Like with an ice cream truck, bumping them Zoloft jams. Right? So, come and get you one. Right on, man. I see y'all in, and thank you if you're joining on YouTube. Thank you if you're joining on the website. And thank you for being gracious as I kind of pay a little extra attention to the Instagrammers. Right, because I'm trying to build up my Instagram game. So if y'all have tuned in on Instagram, thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you guys will come and visit us at bronzeserpentmedia.com and help populate the powwows. Matter of fact, man, I'm gonna issue a challenge. Are you ready for a challenge? I'm gonna issue a challenge. I want to see if I can get just one. Every time I do a Zoloft, man, or the Zopium Den, every time I do one, I'm hoping that we get one, at least one. Right, because I've been under content suppression for a while, but I want to see if we can break through, man. Let's break through. Tired of this, right? Let's see if we can get one new member at bronzeserpentmedia.com. It don't cost you nothing.
It's easy
right?
to sign up.
It's free, right? It's free to sign up. All it costs, the only thing it's gonna cost you is like the time of you putting in your email. That's about it. Right, a couple of clicks of your time, and then we want to see you in there populating the powwows, man. Just become a member there, And so hopefully we'll get one. bronzeserpentmedia.com. Let's see if we can get one new member today. Sup?
Caleb P is wondering, he's in the chat on YouTube, do you ever do political commentary anymore? I don't watch you regularly, so I'm just curious.
Well, that's what the Zoloft is. I haven't stopped. I haven't stopped, y'all.
YouTube has stopped you, though.
Yeah, that's the thing about it. I haven't stopped. I've been stopped from being seen.
Yeah.
Right? And people I know people say like, man, I wish you would do these things the way that you used to do them and stuff like that. Please understand, when circumstances force you away from where you've been, you can't always do the things that you used to do the same way. It's just, it's like, was I supposed to stay in that brick wall house forever? That apartment? Right? Was I supposed to stay there forever? When we moved out, the dynamics change. Yeah. And especially like once I got shadow banned, I have to go by the way that it at least yields some sort of viewership. And me doing the quick vids and stuff like that, hardly. This is doing this long form. Long form is actually one of the ways I'm able to maintain what's left of the audience that I had that was stripped from me. So I've been shadow banned for years. Yeah. My view counts they barely break a couple of hundred anymore. When I used to be able to reach hundreds of thousands. It's not anymore. So, but as in terms of political commentary, I haven't stopped. I'm gonna do some political social commentary today, right? What's up?
And thank you, Caleb P, for signing up. He says I'm signing up now.
Nice. Thank you, Caleb. Got us one. See if we can know. Right on. All right, what else we got? Shall I go ahead and get started with the news?
How's your sniffles doing?
How's my
you
what?
You sound a little nasally.
Do I sound like?
You sound like Fran Drescher.
We're not gonna fall for the banana and tailpipe. All right, so we got YMCA. Okay, do it with me, y'all. YMCA. Did I do two A's? Y. The M. You gotta put the hands curved, right? Get the curve for the M. YMCA, which rhymes with gay.
Oh no!
Oh, I'm gonna get sued. Right? No, because I don't believe that, right? I'm being facetious because that's what this thing is like. YMCA writer ready to sue every media outlet in America over lies about Trump song. I thought it was the YMCA song. Or according to these people, it's the YMCA gay song, right? So, but that's one of the articles that we're going to touch on today. Ben Shapiro dismantles students drop Judeo-Christian argument. And of course, and I'm probably going to catch some heat for this, but of course I'm rooting for Ben with this argument, right? I'm rooting for Ben with it. I just think his argument sucks. But Ben, hey, if you ever, which I doubt you will, but we're not buddies and stuff like that, but we know each other, right? He knows who I am, all right? And but at any rate, if he happens to hear this, it's like, Ben, I'm rooting for you. I'm with you on this argument, but like I said, I just think your argument, sucks. So and then from revival happening, Bible sales are booming. In 2024, I wonder if those Bibles that are selling are those Greenwood Bibles.
Oh, no.
Is that right? Are you buying those for like $60? What is it? How much were they selling those for?
It seems like 60.
Like $60. God bless the USA. This the Psalm of Greenwood. God bless you. All right. Anyway, Charlamagne, the so-called God. Yes, that's my take on it. The so-called God got into an argument with the girls, with the Gorgons, you mean, on The View. Pew View, and it was pure entertainment. I watched it. No, it wasn't. I suffered through that for y'all, man. I should get another subscriber for that.
That is suffering.
It was, man. It was like, right? And real quick on Instagram, Prater, what's up, man? It's Steve-O Merce. I see y'all. 2 Cent Joe, Steve-O. I said Steve-O's name twice. You get double fist bumps. And then Barry Bryan, right on. And what's that? Dragonfly Paw? All right, yeah, that does. It's kind of spelled more like Durgan. Dragonfly Paw. And Boss Beans. Oh man, that sounds like some fart fuel. Sorry, man. It says Boss Beans, man. It sounds like fart fuel. It does. But I'm glad you're here. Just bring some spray. And let's see. Moving on. Continue on with what I'm supposed to be talking about today instead of talking about fart jokes. Supreme Justice Sonia Sotomayor. Speaking of fart jokes, Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor compares Sotomayor. Sotomayor. Right, that was almost like, that was more Scottish. Sotomayor. Right, Sotomayor. Yeah. All right. Sometimes I get my accents mixed up there. Okay. Mutilating kids compares mutilating kids to taking aspirin. Anybody surprised by that? No. Triggering calls for impeachment. Now that right there. Okay. Well, if it was Democrats triggering calls for impeachment, I don't know. They never know where they stand anyway. So I don't know. That would be more news. Y'all gonna try to impeach her? All right. And let's see. Report. Sotomayor's got that. She's got white privilege. She's mentioned white privilege. Remember, according to these people, if men can be women, like they're talking about, if men can be women and women can be men and all that sort of stuff, and they can go ahead and decide who. Just go out. Well, why not? Play it. Beat them at it. Call it white privilege. She gonna get away with this. Call it what it is. It's white privilege. That's what Democrats been fighting for the whole time. That's who they've always been, right? Anyway, you guys got to know, as Rush Limbaugh used to say, you got to know how to fight absurdity with absurdity, right? You just can't be consumed by the absurd. You got to at least know when you're being absurd. See, Democrats don't know when they're being absurd. They don't know. That's just who they are. It's natural to them, right? Like being unaware of your own state. It's like, dude, man, when the last time you done your Sherlock? Oh, man, I didn't even know. But you know, right? Somewhere deep down, this thing know, right? And then reprobates. Biden is weighing preemptive pardons. Who didn't see this coming? And then I tell you, in the last overview, then when they do this blanket pardon, and man, it's talk about you can't not incriminating himself. It's like you go act like this is unfair because it was made to incriminate himself in trying to get a gun. But Biden is basically incriminating all these people. Yeah. By making sure that nobody brings these people up on charges, he's trying to make sure that they are immune from this stuff because they're actually guilty of it. Anyway, let's back on up to the Y. Let's talk about happier news. The YMCA. All right.
That is happier news.
Yeah.
A little bit of housekeeping here. I can normally approve members, but I'm clicking on our new member. Thank you, Caleb. And it's not letting me. So, Caleb, if you're still there, Zoe's gonna have to approve you.
Because I have the master administrative.
He has the super special powers.
Stroke, if you will. And We'll get it taken care of. And if y'all are watching this and y'all become members and it seems to take a little while, sometimes it takes me about, because, I'm a busy man. I'm trying to handle this whole operation. I'm trying to grow this social media platform, a real, free speech, but not an abuse of free speech. All right. You know what I'm saying? It's like people think that free speech is just to come on there and just say outlandish, raunchy stuff, a lot of inflammatory stuff. It's like, man, free speech is, if you want to preserve, you want to be conservative about free speech, do things that, make free speech, worth having. Not just, because free speech is supposed to be your right to express your grievances against the state. That's what the free speech is really about. That's what it's for. It's not about just getting out there and saying whatever you want. It's whenever you want and however you want to do it. Your freedom of speech. I mean, and don't get me wrong, y'all express yourselves, of course, but keep some boundaries. But the free speech is your right of your redress of grievances. You have the right to tell the state, hey man, we don't dig what you're doing, right? And have the right to vote in somebody else to replace that person, whatever representation that is. But especially concerning the left, man, they have totally gone sideways. They've been doing that, y'all, for over 100 years. That's not hyperbole, man. Over 100 years. So anyway, YMCA writer ready to sue every media outlet in America over lies about Trump song. What is the lie? The lie is that the YMCA song is a gay anthem. Okay. I'm a child of the 70s. Right, I was around long enough in the 70s to really appreciate that the 70s were a great time to be a kid. All right, I was around long enough to appreciate the 70s for being a kid. Great cartoons, right? Oh man, if you was a kid in the 70s, man, the best decade for Saturday morning cartoon, right? Get you some whether you gonna have some cereal, your favorite cereal. Get like this close to the TV and watching like Space Stars or the Herculoids or something like that, the Bugs Bunny Roadrunner show, all that stuff, man. It was cereal, sugary cereal, and Saturday morning cartoons, or leftover SpaghettiOs, right? Leftover SpaghettiOs, man. Yeah. Anyway, what was your favorite thing to have on Saturday morning with the cartoons going? But at any rate, yeah, I'd like to know.
Early 80s was good cartoons too.
What was happening in the 80s is that those when the cartoons in the 70s were tapering off. But no, 80s had great. 80s had flipping Transformers. Yep. Right, even the GoBots, right? It was cute, right? The GoBots. Right? Even the GoBots was cute. Had Transformers, had GoBots, had Voltron. I was all about that Voltron, y'all. Right? Voltron. Even going into my teens, I'm still watching Voltron. Had the Voltron, I had 5-line Voltron, right? I had the Cars Voltron, had all that stuff, man. Robotech, right? Robotech representing, had all that stuff. You know what I'm saying? So, anyway, yeah, I ain't hating on the 80s.
He-Man.
He-Man.
I watched that.
I have the power, baby. Right? Let me get this frog out my throat. All right. Ribbit. So, He-Man. Yeah, He-Man was up in there. Thundercats. Come on now. Thundercats. Even that cheap spinoff that they did. Oh, she don't like her because she don't like Snarf. No. She's like, oh, I don't like Thundercats. Snarf, right? She doesn't like Snarf. And then they had, the kind of, like the kind of cheap version of the Thundercats, the Silverhawks, right? That was kind of, it was kind of lame. Actually, man, oops, let me close this. It's gonna make my computer start farting, man. I did it again. It's a bad habit. I hope I didn't close out another page trying to make that happen. And hope my videos aren't slowing down. Because what I do is I get going, man, and I open up the tab in Chrome, which I can't do because it's a memory hog, and it starts slowing stuff down. Let me open this up the right way, or at least a better way than Chrome. Come on, where you at? Don't play with me now. Get my ads back up, or not my ads, but my articles, so I can finish with the news. There it is. All right. Okay, back to it. Let me go ahead and read some of this article here. Because I was I was back there for a minute, man. Man, y'all had me go full on time machine. When I do time machine, I call my drums my time machine.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's what I keep time with. I'm a time machine pilot, right? But y'all had me on another kind of time machine, man. I was dancing in the park, rolling through the dark. I think I got my words that rhyme with arc and backwards. And reminiscing. I was back there, man. Y'all had me back in front of the TV, man, with my cereal. It was great. I love nostalgia, right? So anyway, we talk about the YMCA. Some stuff from the 70s. Huh. What's up?
Jay has a comment. He said Carrie doesn't mind Thundercats. It's Chitara or Zoe's infatuation with Chitara that she hates.
Hey, well, she was fly. Chitara.
Valid point, Jay.
Gonna put me on the spot like that. I know, cause it's like I'd be imagining I'm Panthro, right? Hey, Chitara. What's up, girl? Let me holler at you. Chitara. You like what I'm doing with my nunchucks, Chitara? You like the way I drive away that thunder tank? You like the way I drive the thunder tank, don't you, baby? Yeah. Anyway. All right. Ho! What you call me? Not you, Chitara. I was just practicing, in case Lionel, he dropped a sword or something like that, and he needed a brother, just come in and flip that sword around, and be like, ho! But not you, baby. Not you, you know what I mean? All right. Don't scratch me, girl. Don't scratch me.
She'll whoop that butt.
She's so fast. Look at all them muscles. Look at all that muscles in that badonkadonk, so fast. Pew! I'm gonna catch you though. Anyway, YMCA singer and co-writer Victor Willis of the band Village People announced Monday that starting January 1st, he will start suing every news organization that refers to the song as a gay anthem. The 1978 disco song reached #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 chart last month, fueled by President-elect Donald Trump's use of it at his campaign. I bet he's glad that he wasn't among those people. I want them to cease and desist using my songs.
Yeah.
Right?
That's where I thought he was going.
Right? It's like Foo Fighters. Stop stealing from my... Right? You don't own the publishing rights to them songs anymore. You ain't got nothing to say about it. Mr.
And remember they were saying, oh, it's because he's a womanizer.
Yeah,
and then people were like, yeah, you can't use that card.
Yeah, Dave. Right. Yeah. So anyway, fueled by President Trump's, In Monday Facebook post, Willis wrote, there's been a lot of talk, especially of late, that YMCA is somehow a gay anthem. As I've said numerous times in the past, that is a false assumption based on the fact that my writing partner was gay. And some, not all, of Village People were gay. And the first Village People album was totally about gay life. Well, listen, Victor. It was Victor, right? Victor Willis. Listen, man, it's kind of like one of those things, like if it walks like a duck, it talks like a duck. Or I guess in this case, like walks like a pony and talks, or whichever. Listen, because I tell you what, man, YMCA in the Navy, Macho Man, there's a lot of, but regardless, I remember them songs, okay, and the YMCA, I remember. Okay, well, let me say this, sir. This is news to me, and I'm sorry, Victor, that this is news to me. That you're not homosexual. I'm sorry, I haven't looked you up on Wikipedia or anything like that to see what your personal life is or anything. I don't know. That stuff's never come out, and I reckon I appreciate that. That's just something that I keep that to myself, man. My personal business is whatever. Okay, my personal business is none of your business or whatever. But the rest of the members of other members of not others are homosexuals. So I didn't know that he wasn't a homosexual himself. I always knew the Village People, represented, a gay music group. Now, and Willis is pretty much making it kind of clear. It's like, look, man, I don't appreciate the stigma of the songs that I write being associated with homosexuality. I didn't write a gay anthem. Okay. Now here's the thing, man. All seriousness. And before I go on with being serious, let me stop in on Instagram and say what's up to folks. I see Brian Hughes, Amber, what is that? Amber, or oh, there we go, Amber Ortega. Man, sometimes the words they be lumped together, and it's like, okay, Amber Ortega Decker. I got it. Thank you for tuning in. Paso Mom. And right on. Thank you guys for popping in really quick. I hope you guys will stick around for a minute and become a member at bronzeserpentmedia.com. I'm trying to get one. We got one though. Let's see if we can get another one. Y'all just showed up. You didn't hear what the challenge was. Become a member at bronzeserpentmedia.com. It don't cost nothing, right? Just a couple of clicks of your time. Just an email.
We don't bother you.
That's about it, right? And I don't be spamming you or nothing like that, man. I ain't gonna sell your information or nothing, right? I probably should so I can make some money. But anyway, I'm not gonna do that. Not gonna do that. And help populate the powwows. Back to the news. As I've said numerous times in the okay, so now here's the thing. YMCA, man, was supposed to be about the Young Men's Christian Association. When they're singing this song, it's basically a promotion for this organization. I know he says you can have fun with all the boys, but I don't think that's what he's talking about. He's like, hey, the boys, we hang out. The boys are back into, hanging out with the boys, right? Don't mean that you guys are like, having, relations. Or Thin Lizzy, the boys are back in town. We talk about the boys, you know what I'm saying? So it doesn't necessarily mean that he's alluding to something gay. But the YMCA, man, that's what it's. You can come, you can get yourself clean. You can have, have a good meal. You can do whatever you feel. Well, that last line sounds kind of gay. but overall, the song is not about the promotion of gay. So and now they want to try to stigmatize. And it's funny because you got these people who are supposed to be so pro-gay, but they're using gay as an insult. Trying to insult Trump. It's like, you're using the gay song, you're gay. So because you guys know being gay is there's something wrong with it. But now I've never really associated the YMCA, just like I've talked about just a second ago. YMCA is talking about the YMCA, not gay. But you want? I got a gay anthem for you. If you want a gay anthem, Dirty Deeds. Dirty Deeds by AC/DC. I might get in the fight, but I'll win the fight. TNT, right? I'll win the fight. But Dirty Deeds, that song's gay. Come on, man. You guys know the song? I know you know the song. I know I got some ACD heads up in here. Even with AC/DC back in the day, they used to say that AC/DC was a term for gay. And it's not, AC/DC is an interpretation of power, right? Different forms of, I think, current, right? Alternate current and direct current, right? So basically, but for AC/DC, it's like it represents power. But let me see, Dirty Deeds. Let's look at those lyrics, man. And Dirty Deeds wasn't always one of my favorite songs. Right, some of the Bon Scott I think was great for his day. I kind of like Bon Scott's style, probably a little bit more than I like Brian Johnson's, because Bon Scott was more campy. He brought this kind of like levity to the music that was it just made it this. This kind of just party trashy, just good time rock and roll music. And Brian Johnson is, I guess, maybe a little bit more, I don't know. He didn't bring as much, I guess, facetiousness to it. Not that it's Brian Johnson, it's just a style, right? Brian Johnson, a great singer for what he does. Sometimes I can't handle all that. It's like Back in Black. Black in Black would be a bomb song, man. That song would be banging. But just sometimes, Brian just gets to going off with that. And I'm like, okay, Brian, dang, man, just let the riff, just let the riff play, man. But Bon Scott singing Dirty Deeds. Let's. Oh man, I don't want to look it up on eBay. I know the lyrics to the song, man, but I just want to make sure I go through this like line by line to make sure that I'm not obscuring anything. Now, the first verse of the song, y'all, okay, I get it, man. He's talking about a girl that he's gonna exact some retribution on the school head, man, for making her do some dirty deeds, if you will, for improved grades. Okay, but now y'all, the second verse, I got issues with, man. Okay, listen, you got a problem in your love, you got a problem in your life of love. You got a broken heart. He's double dealing with your best friend. That's when the teardrops start, fella. All right, he's talking to a dude. He sounds like he's talking to a dude who's having a relationship problem with another dude. Okay, or unless he's rebuking the guy for how he's doing his girlfriend, but I don't think it's written that way. It could be, I give the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he's rebuking some guy for how he's treating his girl, right? But it's not set up that way. You got a problem in your life of love. You say you got a broken heart. He's double dealing with your best friend. That's when the teardrops start, fella. So it sounds like a same-sex relationship, two dudes. Pick up the phone, I'm here alone, or make a social call. Come right in, forget about him, we'll have ourselves a ball. He's got big balls, and balls that are held for pleasure are the balls that I like best. Yeah, all right, come on now. Have themselves a ball. That's verse 2. Am I wrong? That sounds kind of gay, right? It sounds gay. So, and then it's basically Bon Scott is what is he? Is he basically making a case that he's a male gigolo? For guys? And then in the last verse, if you got a lady and you want her gone, if you got a lady and you want her gone, but you ain't got the guts, she keeps nagging at you night and day enough to drive you nuts. Pick up the phone, leave her alone. It's time you made a stand. For a fee, I'm happy to be your backdoor man. Gay, right? Dirty Deeds is a flippin' gay anthem, if there ever was one. That's gayer than Frankie Goes to Hollywood, all right? And Frankie, they made some bumping music, man. Relax, that's my jam, right? I love that song. No. Whoa. Man, let me get that frog out of there. Boom. But hey, I don't really care about the lyrics to the song. It's like when I listen to that song, I'm just listening to the beat and then everything else. It's like I'm tuning out the lyrics, right? Yeah. But all that to say, Dirty Deeds is that song's gayer than Frankie Goes to Hollywood. But all that now, so more power to Victor. If these news outlets, are going to be irresponsible and basically defame what it is he's trying to. After he's told them, it's like, look, man, the song is not a gay anthem. It's never meant to be a gay anthem. Okay, the song is about the YMCA, Young Men's Christian Association. You guys are trying to push Christianity out of it. All right. Now, even though the village people, they some heathens and stuff like that, they at least knew, hey man, the YMCA, they'll help you get your life back on track if you go there and you act right. All right, so you can't, you can do whatever you feel is not exactly true. You can get kicked out of there if you're going to be a nuisance.
Yeah. So Willis concluded his post. He says the true anthem is YMCA. YMCA's appeal to people of all stripes, including President-elect Trump. I mean, this guy is happy that President-elect Trump is using his song in all the rallies. He's happy. He loves it.
He's thankful. Yeah.
He says, but the song is not really a gay anthem, other than certain people falsely suggesting that it is, and this must stop because it is damaging to the song. He is highly offended that his song has been, like, how do you say?
It's been misconstrued. It's
taken by the alphabet mafia, as Jay said.
Yeah, co-opted.
Co-opted, yeah.
And and when you want to talk about brave, for so long we've had to deal with coming in. It's like between these people, and they're so strong in your acceptance of it, you're weak in your submission to it. It's not brave, okay? But brave would be, you know what, man? Hey, Donald Trump, thank you for doing this song. That's brave, okay? Because cancel culture is a real thing, man. And heck, your life may even be in danger. I hope not. Let's see what else we got here. Moving on to Ben Shapiro. Dismantles students drop Judeo-Christian argument. Okay, you know what? I should have one of those shirts, man. I should have a shirt that says, "This is what a Christian nationalist looks like."
That would be great, actually.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm a subject of the kingdom, man, and that's my actual nation. All right, I am a Christian nationalist. Now, as a Christian nationalist, am I against saying Judeo-Christian? Hell no. It is Judeo-Christian. And you ain't gonna convince me otherwise, and for me, you ain't taking Judeo out of it. I'll tell you why. For the primary reason, my high priest and king is a Jew. Right? That's at the base level. Okay? And Yeshua HaMashiach fulfilled the law that was given to the Jews. Our Redeemer and our redemption came through the Jewish nation. The law who loves us back came through them. And the law that he fulfilled were Judeo. Okay, as in instituted by King David, codified by Moses, instituted in this consolidation of how we're going of these ordinances under King David. All right, so Judeo-Christian ain't nothing wrong with it. If anything, the only problem with Judeo-Christian, if anything, is that it's a redundant statement. That's it. It's redundant, but it ain't wrong. All right. So that being said, and see, here's the problem. When you have these Christians out there, particularly those who just, I don't know, I don't even know if they read the Old Testament. You got to read the Old Testament. You got to have a profile of Jesus. You got to know who your Redeemer is. That blueprint is spelled out in the Old Testament of who to expect. All right. The whole word of God is about Yeshua. So you're not practicing idolatry. You got to know who he is, man. You got to see his profile. All right. So here's the problem with these Christians out there trying to get rid of the term Judeo-Christian. You're trying to separate something very important about Yeshua, that he's Jewish. All right. You don't want to take that out of there. That in itself is heresy.
Yeah.
Okay. Do not try to separate Yeshua from being Jewish. It is Judeo-Christian. The roots of our faith is Jewish. The first Christians were Jewish. All right. Don't take that out of there. So when you got these people, man, that want to separate, Jesus from this, look, man, because you got people out there who try to say that it doesn't matter what nationality, people like, if you call the Europeans out for this, why y'all make Jesus white? Who is this guy? This pasty, blue-eyed white dude, white girl with a mustache, and a beard, and stuff like that. Jesus wasn't transgender or nothing like that. Why do you guys make him look like that? The profile of Jesus is given in the Bible. Okay, you got pages and pages that assemble his profile and tells you what he looks like. Okay, he doesn't look like that. And for those and the Afro sisters who try to say that he's black, it's like no, Jesus was not a descendant of Cush. He's a descendant of Shem. All right. Don't try to culturally appropriate the Hebrews and say that you're the original Hebrews or the original. Or no, you're not. OK, so all that to say, but these people, their response is, well, you know what? It doesn't matter what nation Jesus come or what color he was or this or that. All that matters is that he is our Redeemer and Jesus saves and they'll just go off on it. And he loves us no matter what color we are and all that sort of stuff. And it doesn't matter. It's like that's wrong. It's absolutely wrong. That's idolatry. Okay. And if you're going to try to say it doesn't matter, then that's just flat out laziness. Jesus has a nation. He's a Jew. All right. So and chiefly of the tribe of the tribe of Judah, from the line of David and from the line of Levi. OK, he's both our king and he's our priest. So all that to say, I wish it'd be great if some so-called Christians would knock it off with trying to stop or with trying to change Judeo-Christian to just be a Christian. Now, one of the things that they'll lean on, and I don't think, and y'all, this is not a good thing to go by. All right, it's not a good thing to go by. Number one, if you're gonna wax scripture, make sure that it's God breathed. Mm-hmm. If you're gonna let me take that. Let me change the wording on that. If you're gonna wax doctrine, okay, make sure that it's God breathed. If you're gonna go extra biblical on it, that argument's not gonna hold up. Okay, and unfortunately, Ben fell into that, but that's where he's from. Okay, but when you have people who are gonna try to cite the Talmud, man, that's not legit, man. That's tradition. That's man-made writ. Yeah. It's not God breathed. Don't go by that. Don't judge the Jew. And I get it. You're gonna have a significant population of the Jewish people who are gonna go by the Talmud. I get it. But to make the Talmud something that's man-made tradition, even though they're given over to it, that's not that. You don't want to judge a false or a dubious, a not trustworthy tradition to try to square by Holy Writ and use that to judge the Jews. Okay, God established their nation. Their tradition didn't establish their nation. God did. Okay, now in going into the Talmud, let me see. They're going by lines like, according to the Talmud, Gittin 57a 3-4. And before we continue on reading that, if anybody else has stopped in, and help me out, because we got aircraft Sparky, like he's got some long hair and stuff like that. Aircraft Sparky, our Hebrew homie in the house. Help me out, man, because I don't want to be trying to get into it. You're more of the authority on this than I am, but help me out if I'm misunderstanding something. And also we have Junior Newton. Is that right? Thank you for joining. Brian Hughes, thank you so much for and for those who are still kicking it with us. Right on. Okay. And back to the news. So Gittin 57a 3-4, Onkelos then went on and raised Jesus the Nazarene from the grave through necromancy. What is the punishment of that man? A euphemism for Jesus himself in the next world? Jesus said to him, and this is just another person named Jesus. This isn't Jesus of Nazareth. Jesus said to him, he is punished with boiling excrement. Okay, so that's why you have people saying, well, the Jews believe that Jesus is suffering in hot doo-doo, right? So listen. That's tradition. That is not Holy Writ. Okay. And once again, unfortunately, you do have a multitude of Jews who subscribe to the Talmud. Okay. And it's a fair judgment to say, look, man, this is writ that you guys believe. As if the Tanakh isn't enough.
Right.
The scriptures are the word of God. They are the textual representation of God himself. All right. And El Shaddai, meaning the mighty and sufficient one. Why isn't that sufficient for you? Why do you include the Talmud? You don't need to. All right. The Talmud is a superfluous book. See that when you include books like, when you include writings like this and you make these and you include these as part of your doctrine, you're basically saying that God is not a just God. It's kind of like when Ben also says you're misunderstanding, because Ben likes to play the I speak Hebrew, you don't speak Hebrew card. Yes. He likes to play that card. Okay? That's not a good card to play, Ben, because what you're saying is that God is not a just God. What you're saying is that because you don't speak the language that I gave, that I gave my ordinance to the world with through the Jews, because you don't speak this language, I'm going to judge you. God's a just God. God is not going to give us writ that other people can't understand. We have the manuscripts. All right. And granted that other translations will not be able to encapsulate all the meanings that are in the metadata of the Hebrew language. That's true. But we have the manuscripts that give you all the breakdowns and the context of how these words are used. We can still put it together. All right. And it's something that anybody can understand. All right. Anybody that's well adjusted enough, if you will. Okay. We can all understand it. God is a just God. He's not going to give us something that we can't understand because we're not Hebrew. Even in the Old Testament, it says bring the foreigner can come on in. As long as you are willing to assimilate to the law, right? Now you got some that assume that that's Noahide law, which is not. Okay, if you can comprehend this, the law that I have given to Moses, okay, you can come on in, man. It's just as long as you understand that. And if you want full citizenship, well, that's gonna come with the circumcision. All right, then you'll be able to participate in the sacrifices and stuff like that. But this right here, in trying to say that the Talmud is this legitimate writ for your spirituality, and yeah, it is legitimate for spirituality. It's just not holy spiritual.
Yes, exactly.
It's spiritual, but it ain't holy. All right, it ain't gonna. It's not gonna help you with salvation at all. It ain't gonna get you on the good side of God. You already have the sufficient word, and that's going to be in the Tanakh. So, in giving you the profile of what the Lord meant by his redemption, how he's going to redeem you, the profile is given in there. It's just unfortunately, y'all miss it. So, once again, I think Ben is kind of missing the point and dropping the ball in trying to play the Hebrew card, because it basically says that God is not a just God, and he responds to this person saying that this is he's accusing these people of giving a mystery. It's like, it's not a mystery, man. The context is, you have plenty of context right here to say what this is. Okay, it's written. Now, also another issue that I actually have more issues about Ben's response to this than I have about the person who's bringing the charge. He's a knucklehead himself. It's like that's obvious. But where Ben is coming from in his response to it, Ben is talking about the issues that one can have with their religion, and Ben I guess in self-effacement, it says that even I have issues, like with the Old Testament. Well, why would you follow it, Ben? Why? See, here's the thing. People be following these religions, whether it's Islam, Mormonism, they want to pick and choose about what they agree with and stuff like that, or things that they may wrestle with about their doctrine and whatnot. See, I don't praise be to God, I don't have that problem. Old Testament and New, for the Bible from cover to cover. Okay, Yeshua who is the fulfillment of who the scriptures have been talking about the whole time, from the very first word. In the beginning, right? It's from the very first word to the last. In the beginning is not just an event; it's a personification. You break it down. It's not just it's a phrase that's summed up in a word, okay? And it's a personification. To the last, amen. Amen is a personification. It's not just a term of agreement. All right, the whole book from cover to cover, from first word to the last word, is about Yeshua ben Elohim. It's about him. All right. So when you have Ben who's saying that, there's even things that I, have issues with or disagree with. It's like, man, why even if you're gonna follow something that is given to you by the perfect one, the holy one, the whole and complete one, then do you not trust that he's whole and complete and perfect? How can you find something that you disagree with? Now, don't get me wrong, because once again, y'all, I don't believe on blind faith. As Christians, we don't believe on blind faith. God doesn't expect us to believe on blind faith. God gives evidence, okay? Like with Abraham. It ain't like, as I've said before, Abraham, God didn't just show up out of nowhere and tell Abraham to go to sacrifice his kid. It's like Abraham never knew who he was or something like that. God has demonstrated miracles to Abraham. Okay, they got history. So Abraham didn't act on blind faith. And Abraham knew. It's like, I don't serve a God that calls for human sacrifice. That's why he says, me and my son will be right back. I'm gonna go through the motions. I'll do it all. I will put this knife in my kid because I value God more than anything else. That's what's important. You got to value God over anything else. Because if you want to have the right kind of love for anybody, you got to process that through the Lord. Our love hurts people. Our love will hurt people, y'all. God's love doesn't. All right. So we got to process our love by him. That's why he wants us to love him first. Not because he's an egomaniac. It's for our sake. Okay. But Ben, if you're finding fault, or if you, maybe you don't find fault, maybe Ben would say, it's not that I find fault with it. I just don't understand it. And at this point, I have a reservation about it.
He calls it problematic.
Problematic. Okay.
But he classified them all pretty much the same. The Talmud, the Old Testament, and the New Testament.
Right.
And the
Quran, I think. Quran, right? So, I mean, you gonna put these things on equal level? Man, that's an insult, to the Almighty, man. There's no equal. He's King of Kings, Lord of Lords, man. He's Lord of Lords. So I look in the scriptures, man. I look in them Old Testament scriptures, and I don't see a problem. There is no problem. I've read through the book several times. All right, study it. I'm a fan. All right, I'm a fan of God, right? And I study it, and I'm looking through it. And I used to be, like people who's a cat like Lee Strobel's all that. I used to see if I could try to find fault. Ain't.
Yep.
It's like, nah, man, the more I try to find, it's like, man, no, my mind's being blown right now. So all that to say, to Christians out there that are trying to say that we need to drop the Judeo from Christian, you're doing yourself a disservice. You're doing the country a disservice. You're doing God a disservice. Okay? Basically, it's like, man, you acting like this is the kind of stuff. This is the kind of stuff, man. No wonder people like try to associate Christian nationalism with Nazis and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And trying to say, well, Hitler was a Christian. If Hitler was a Christian, he wasn't a very good one. He seemed to not like the Jews. It'd be kind of weird that he's going around killing Jews if he's a Christian who is supposed to understand that your high priest and king is a Jew, right? But this is one of the reasons why people would make this association, because y'all are trying to separate the Jewishness from Jesus.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that would be cause for people to be like, man, y'all are like Nazis. You might want to stop doing that.
I'm finding, because I pay attention to Christian culture every single day, I am finding this to be very, very popular amongst men who are 30 and under. It's really growing.
No wonder they don't want people like,
yeah.
No wonder they don't want people like me to be seen.
Right? Yeah, to separate the Jewishness from Christianity. Yeah. They want it separated.
See, this, because that's the thing about it. This invites the stigma, and in the culture, it helps to fuel the argument that Christian nationalists, they're just extensions of Hitler. They're Nazis also. You got these fools out there who really they don't understand. They don't get it. They're given over to whatever culture they're surrounded by and given over to this stuff. The same way, Jews are going to be given over to the Talmud.
Right.
You believe it's something that's just, it's dubious. And it's tradition. This man-made tradition. It's going to be the same thing here. It's like, man, don't set yourself up for that.
Yeah.
I pray in the Lord's name, in Jesus' name, and just knock it off with this foolishness of trying to separate Jesus from his Jewishness.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not trying to come for men who are in their 20s. That's just mostly who does commentary and writings on this topic.
Oh, and really quick, Instagram, the J Perry. Thank you for joining. Getty Flea. Oh man, you must have some stupefying bass chops, right? I am so 314. Insta Sean Davis, Faye Patog has joined. Thank you guys so much for tuning in on the Instagrams for your dose from the Zoloft. BronzeSerpentMedia.com. Hope you guys will show up there and become a member. It's free. Help populate the powwow. All right, so give me a quick little sniff because I got a seasonal bug or something like that. No, don't lie, Zoe. You got AIDS. No, I don't. I don't have AIDS, man. I got the sniffles. Don't even play like that. What's up?
Mark Millet, he said in reference to the AC/DC song, Google says it was an homage to the Beanie and Cecil cartoons that Angus Young watched as a child.
Yeah, okay. I think I remember something like that also.
There's lots of different theories, but he's offering what Google says.
Yeah, I can dig it. That's it's an homage to
That
these
would be
cartoons,
much
but
better.
it would be. It's like I don't know. I still think Bond should have been a little bit more careful how he worded that, or Angus. I don't know who which one of them like took the lead on writing those lyrics. And maybe Bon Scott was just really drunk. I mean, he died from alcohol poisoning, as far as I know. He was just probably really drunk and just like, oh yeah, but these lyrics are great. These are, I'll say them. Yeah. The Back Door, man, I love it, man. It's got, yeah. All right, so what else we got here? Revival happening. Bible sales are booming in 2024. I like hearing that, man. And maybe, like I said, maybe it's one of them. Is it one of them Greenwood Bibles? Are they selling for like really expensive? Come on, man. I'm trying to get to, there we go. Let's open up the ad. And I keep calling it an ad, man. It's an article. I guess I call them ads because they keep popping up while he's trying to read the article.
Yes.
Yeah. I knew there was a reason for my clumsiness. Let's see. A new report by the Wall Street Journal revealed that Bible sales have increased by 22% compared to last year. It's like, are they buying them so they can burn them? Or, people buying them. Sometimes you see this stuff on YouTube where people like just, they get Bibles just so they can desecrate them.
Yep. Well, because you did a video showing that people burning a Bible, right?
Yeah.
Christians reported you, and you got, that was a long time ago. Christians reported you for showing that video of people burning the Bible, and you got nicked.
Yeah. Y'all would you'd be surprised, man. The stuff that I like, your video is violent and your video shows nudity. I'm like, dude, do you guys even watch my videos? There's no nudity, there's no profanity, but YouTube sends me those things and tells me why they're going to suspend my channel or demonetize and all that sort of stuff. And but yeah, show these like videos. You got these people trying to set the Bible on fire and they can't. They're trying to. It's like, well, fire. Sometimes fire doesn't catch as good as you think as it does. There's a way that you got to do that. Not that I have experience with burning a Bible or any book for that matter, but if you're trying to burn it that way, it's not gonna catch the way that you think it's going to.
You do have a lot of experience with fire, though.
I was a little pyro back in my day, yeah. So book sale tracker, Circana BookScan, has released data showing Bible sales through the end of October are up 22% compared to 2023 sales. And y'all, and as I've said, the things that are happening, these things that are familiar to end times themes, as I've said, the things that are happening, they're not particularly the things that would be happening in the tribulation, but they look familiar, don't they? Now would probably be a really good time, for you to read the Bible and see for yourself. Mm-hmm. Because like I said, like even we have this frequent UFO news. Y'all, there's a reason for that, man. There's a reason for the UFO news. It's to sensitize people. That way they're not expecting a rapture per se. Oh, those Christians, they believe in something called rapture. Don't you know that it's really just going to be a mass abduction, a UFO abduction? That's what people are being conditioned for. That's why we're hearing about this UFO news all the time, because we are approaching those times. Okay, somebody's keeping track of time. Just the way that somebody was keeping track of when Jesus would show up, and baby Jesus, right, or toddler Jesus, the Magi were keeping time, but they were keeping very diligent time of when to scope out when Jesus. Looking for that star. You got a lot of people out there who still think and trying to make an argument and trying to make some sort of like a astrological sound claim about how they were able to follow this celestial body, whether it be a comet or anything like that. It's like, no, dude. And obviously the Magi were better versed in these scriptures than you, because the Magi understood that stars represented angels. All right? They were following an angel, not a star, not a wandering star that for some reason was able to, go out of orbit and stuff like that. They were following an angel, that angel being Gabriel. Okay, so the Magi were tuned in. They knew what to look for. And you got there's somebody keeping track of that Jubilee year. See, Jews don't keep track of Jubilee anymore, right? They don't keep track of that. Somebody is. Some Luciferian nut is keeping track of that, and they want to make sure that the people are more and more starting to hear about UFOs, right? Hear about UFOs. That way people be like, oh, it's not, you guys, you foolish Christians. It's not going to be some rapture. Don't you know that aliens are already here, right? And it's just going to be a mass abduction. That's what's going to happen, right? And then those who are left behind for it, that's what they're going to try to stick with. Oh, the aliens came and took them, you know? So all this stuff is here. But all that to say, y'all, I'm glad to see that the Bible sales are going up more because I've been saying, it's like, look, man, when you see these familiar things, you know, people having to get their hands scanned and their forehead, or you're getting facial recognition technology, which is similar to having your forehead scanned and all that sort of stuff. Is that the mark of the beast and stuff? No, it ain't the mark of the beast, but it's familiar, ain't it? You don't want to be here for the real thing.
Amen.
So crack open that Bible, start getting to know who Jesus is. So you're not here for it. All right. Of course, now I got to be careful with that because that starts to set off the pre, mid, and post-trib arguments, and that's not what this is going to be about. And which that's a Zopium Den theme, and I try not to get into stuff like that because I stick to it's an expository presentation. We read the Bible chapter by chapter, verse by verse. So once I do that, I try not to get too far off into other biblical accounts. I try to stick to it because it becomes very distracting. Right, and not that I don't welcome iron sharpening iron and stuff like that. It's just like I said, here's the focus of what we're supposed to be talking about. But sometimes, if time permits, or if the vibe is right, and we can talk about it peacefully, because sometimes people get really passionate about that stuff.
Yeah.
They don't like, they don't like for people to see things different as far as those things go. But we talk about it. Let's see. Now, Jeff Crosby, who serves as the president of the Evangelical Christian Publishers Association, stated people are experiencing anxiety themselves, or they're worried for their children and grandchildren. Now, I can appreciate that, but that's not the greatest reason to pick up the Bible, especially when the Lord is going to tell you repeatedly, "Don't be afraid." Yeah. Don't be given over to your anxiety, man. It's like people are out there and of course, as you start to read the Bible, the Word of God is going to minister, to that anxiety. It's going to quell that anxiety. But for those things, people they're looking for a fix, for the anxiety. And I hope these people, I hope they realize, and worried for their children or their grandchildren. Worry shouldn't be the motivating factor. But if it is, hopefully, as you start to read, you'll see that the Lord himself is much more worthy to be pursued because he is peace, not so much because of what you're trying to get away from, these things that make you anxious. Yeah. You start to realize that the Lord, he's just got that gravity, man. He's just drawn to him. You want to know your king. Right, you want to know the law who loves you back. All right, that's what it comes down to. That's the thing that hopefully these people will come to understand as these sales go up and these people want to get to know. Hopefully that's what it's about. Once again, it's like not opening the Bible because I want to get away from my anxiety. Hopefully you discover it's like, man, I'm just wanting to come to this guy Jesus. This guy is blowing my mind. This was always you. Well, wow, right? It's a whole nother trip, man. So that's some good news, man. I'm glad. I'm so grateful I'm able to talk about that people are, increasing, their increase of people are picking up the word right on. What else we got here?
Yeah, it says there's been a 41% increase.
41?
41% at the bottom of the article in the last 10 months in this year. That's awesome. Huge.
All right. Why are you, man? My stuff is trying to trip out on me, y'all. Uh-oh. I'm getting some glitches. I'm getting some gremlins. Let me try to open up another page to view my email that has all these links to these articles and see if I can jump to them from here. Okay, yeah, that's a better tab. That other tab got AIDS. It started to fall apart. Now what do we got here? We got Charlamagne, the so-called God, got into an argument with this. I guess he wasn't expecting that. And Charlamagne, he looked kind of like he was out of his element. And I think Charlamagne is having an epiphany. And he's like, man, he's trying to say Democrats, act like they have this moral high ground. And it's like, Charlamagne, did you really think that you can get it? You know that you're going to be sitting amongst Democrats who are going to be in denial about that, and they're not going to let you make that claim. Okay? And I guess maybe he thought, because it didn't seem to have, his retort didn't really go that far. Okay? Because he's sitting at the table with a bunch of gorgons. You know, that I don't think he understood, man. It's like, man, I think he was just caught off guard. Maybe he thought that he could go in and make this claim and have some reasonable discourse,
Yeah.
with these women, these gorgons. No, you know, if I had an opportunity to go on The View, be like, no. A lot of these shows, man, it's like, man, no, I don't need to go on these people's shows. You know, why? I don't want to help increase their ratings. But so Charlamagne, he's on there, and I think he was caught by surprise that he wasn't getting away. Not only not able to get away, I'm pretty sure maybe he expected like some sort of, you know, debate or discussion, but it was like they put the brakes on him pretty quick.
Yeah.
And so for him to try to say that, you know, Democrats act like they have this moral high ground, it's like, you know, that wasn't going to sell. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and maybe for him, hopefully it was more of an awakening for him, because he was already starting to see it, that Democrats are a bunch of hypocrites.
Right.
Democrats get it, and that's why maybe maybe people start to respect it if Charlamagne starts to say it.
Right.
Because I've been saying it for years. White privilege is a real thing. Okay, look at what the Democrats get away with. The reason why the Republican Party was founded was to stop the Democrats for their idea of white privilege. Okay, Democrats could decide who's human and who's not, enslave whoever they wanted to keep that going. Okay, Republicans like, you know, y'all ain't doing that anymore. All right, that's how the Republican Party was founded. I don't know what this Republican Party is today, you know, for the most part. But how the Republican Party, that's how the Republican Party, it farted out at some point, right? But hopefully Charlamagne is looking at it, and it's like, yeah, man, y'all a bunch of entitled brats, entitled hypocrites. You know, and he basically addressing all the Democrats, including them.
Yep.
Hypocrites. And they weren't hearing that. And gave dumb excuses. I mean, Whoopi Goldberg does think that she has the moral high ground. She basically thinks she's Mother Teresa with dreadlocks. All right? But she in this, she's gonna excuse for Joe Biden pardoning Hunter Biden was that, well, other people get away with it. It's like, look, lady, you're basically encouraging a person to not have any integrity, which we know that Joe Biden doesn't have any integrity. But you're encouraging him to not have any integrity. You're going to make this charge that I guess we on our side of the aisle, we're just always getting away with stuff. Like what?
I know.
Like what? You know, what do we get away with? You know, but you're gonna try to use that as an excuse to say that, well, you know what? Biden gets a freebie on this. He gets to get away with this. And she's for that. She gonna stand by that stupid argument. Yep. And even Charlamagne, I don't think he was ready for that. Yeah, dude, you gotta be prepared for people to say something that's stupid. And Charlamagne wasn't ready for that. And Charlamagne's worldview is dumb as it is. You know, when you got a person out there, when he's interviewing Kamala Harris and he's wanting her to qualify her realness and her blackness, I want to hear you talk about how you smoke marijuana. Mm-hmm. Oh, well, hey, thanks, Charlamagne. That's a really good look for black folks. You know, it's, oh, hey, now we're talking about some real stuff. Let me talk about when you smoke some marijuana. I said, okay. You know, so that's realness. You know, and that's something commendable. So it's like, yeah, I'm not totally on board with Charlamagne's worldview. But even Charlamagne was not ready for that. Yeah. Was not ready for that level of stupid. All right. And as the word of God says, dude, don't cast your pearls before pigs. It was a waste of your time to be there. But at the same time, if anything, I hope he got something out of it where it's like, man, y'all are twisted. Am I like y'all?
Right.
I don't want to be like y'all. I need a new direction. I recommend Jesus. Anyway.
Yeah, amen. With this whole very vaguely written pardon that Joe Biden did, so Whoopi Goldberg is saying, well, Republicans do this stuff all the time. They are so dirty. They get away with everything, like practically quoting the woman. That's what she was saying.
Yeah.
In the articles that I read, and I read Democrat articles too on the pardon, everybody had to go all the way back to the Nixon pardon because Republicans don't do this stuff all the time. And even the Nixon one, even Democrats argued, the reasonable ones, even the Nixon one wasn't that vague and wasn't that bad, as bad as Joe Biden's was.
Right? You know, and it's like we get away with stuff. Trump was impeached.
Yeah,
you know,
impeached, indicted, arrested.
Over and over again, you know, getting away with stuff. You know, it's the only reason why he's walking free is because you can't base it on anything.
Yeah.
You got nothing on him. You know, you just put out a whole bunch of accusations. So, but yeah, that's one of the things that I realized about the Democrats a long time ago. That was a big turning, you know, that was a turnaround for me. The thing that stuck, man, that a big seed planted was, I think it was back in the 90s, and I was Damien, it was like Damien the Omen, came on. And I don't remember if it was the first one or the second one. And it was big. The line was basically, forgive me if I'm getting the line wrong, you guys probably remember it. It's like Satan is not going to come through, or the Antichrist isn't going to come through as an angel or some beast or something like that. Or when he comes, Satan will rise through politics, right? And that stuck with me for a minute, okay? And when it would take shape of where it would just be like, oh man, I see who the Democrats are now. The political aspect was right there, and then I noticed something about the Democrats in their politics. You know, and being that I was a default Democrat, but I noticed something. They're always accusing, always, right? That's just who they are. They're just constantly accusing. And then one day I found out what the name of Satan meant. His name means the accuser, particularly like the slanderer, right? And I was like, that's Democrats all day. And then couple that with, you are of your father the devil, and the sins of your father they will do. They do exactly like Satan. Their campaign is always accusations. Always. Right? That's all they do. You know, so you got Charlamagne, the so-called God. And hopefully, yeah, it's like, man, like I said, if you're thinking like these people and you realize it, yeah, drop that whole God thing.
Yes.
And follow the one true God. You know, don't be like, you know, maybe, you know, who's that? Jeremy Boring, you know, I am the God King.
Yes.
He finally came around and changed that God thing to a lowercase g. Yeah.
Yeah, and now he says it lowercase g.
Yeah. That's being a little more grown up there, Jeremy.
We need just him to come around on gay marriage now, though.
Yeah, I know. It's like, because he's supposed to be like the pillar of conservatism, and it's like, duh. Like I said, man, thinking different from liberals doesn't make you a conservative. Okay, it's not the same thing. All right, but I don't want to reiterate that. But with Charlamagne, hopefully that he's seeing that, you know, man, I don't want to think like these people. You know, this sucks, dude. Do I suck like this? I don't want to be that anymore. Let's see, in pure entertainment. I watched it. Pure entertainment? No, it wasn't even entertainment. It was like, yeah, this is just dumb, dude.
Jay Thompson says, that's insulting to real Gorgons.
Well, you know, usually they're called harpies. And I was like, nah, dude, they're worse than harpies, man. They're worse than harpies. You know, I know as you're looking at Whoopi Goldberg, and at some point you're waiting for them, you know, for them locks to like start going.
Yes, exactly.
Right? Don't look her in the eye, man. Don't look her in the eye. You'll turn to stone. All right, so what else we got here? Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor compares mutilating kids. Of course, I reckon she doesn't take it as mutilating. Right. To taking aspirin. Triggers for calls for impeachment. Okay, so I listened, man, there isn't anything to take out of context here. You can't freaking exaggerate the callous, evil nature of this woman. Okay, you'll see, man. If you listen to it, yeah. Okay, let me put it like, if this woman is evil, and this right here, I think would be a demonstration. If she's gonna say that, you know, let them do it, it's just like it's the same risk as taking an aspirin.
Yep.
You know, I don't know if you guys ever saw the Gosnell movie, and we did. We tried to keep it as we kind of put it in a crime story narrative, but based on these true accounts that were going on in there. And during one of the hearings, when this woman is being examined, she's basically saying, you know what, people die.
Yeah.
Okay, because we're talking about a woman who was going through an abortion procedure and she was killed. Okay, she just died. She was killed. All right, the negligence, it was such negligence. And you might as well just murder her, man. You might as well just kill her. All right, but she's like, look, people die. That kind of callousness.
Yeah.
Okay, Sotomayor got that same kind of evil callousness. Just say like, look, man, there's risk in it. There's risk in taking aspirin. So somebody their surgery goes wrong or they regret or they do this irreparable damage or something. That's the risk.
Yeah.
And so that being said, according to our Constitution, the way that you get rid of a Supreme Court justice is bad behavior. I would call this bad behavior. You don't have the discretion to know when somebody's being mutilated, and you're going to compare that. You want to give the okay for this.
Yeah.
You want to give the okay for people to be mutilated, irreparable damage to their body, to give their body a false function, and compare that to it's like taking aspirin, the risk. That's bad behavior as far as I'm concerned.
It is.
You're a reprobate.
She says every medical treatment has a risk, even taking aspirin.
Yeah. You're a reprobate. You don't need to be on the Supreme Court. You just showed your true colors. And yeah, I do hope she gets impeached. What else we got here? Biden is weighing. He's most likely going to do it. No, I'm not going to pardon him. No, I'm not going to pardon him. No, I'm not going to pardon him. I'm going to pardon him. Right? So yeah, this is. And what I say in the last, I'd already said it. The him giving this blanket pardon is basically him incriminating, or him basically saying, Hunter's guilty of all that sort of stuff. But I want to make it to where you can't pursue it. And he's going to do the same thing with these people, right? But once again, I don't know if anybody answered. I'm sorry if I didn't check back to see if anybody had answered or not. This, I think, what he's trying to lean on, and really quick, Iggy Towers, thank you for joining on Instagram. Frank C. Mitchell, Life of Riley, what's up? Roy Savell, the J. Perry. Thank you guys for tuning in on the Instagram and sticking with me for as long as you have. BronzeSerpentMedia.com. Hope that you guys will come there and become a member. It's free. All it's going to cost you is just your email. I ain't going to sell you information. I ain't going to pimp you out, cuz. I ain't going to do it, right? I ain't going to do it, right? But just come on in and help populate the powwows, man. Hopefully we'll see y'all we got one. Hopefully we'll get another. See if we'll get another member there.
Caleb says, stop ignoring YouTube, LOL.
I know, right? Hey, but see, if I named off everybody on YouTube, I'm like my audience is like so huge. You guys are a precious few, man. Precious few.
Very precious.
And it's all about the quality, not the quantity. But it's like, come on, Zoe, you ain't got that many viewers, man. But you can't say hi to everybody. You can say hi to people on YouTube and hi to people on your website. And you know what? You're right. But I'm clumsy, and I'm trying to do one at a time. And I'm trying to grow my Instagram game. I need all the outlets I can get. So thank you guys for tuning in. So lastly, come on, Frog. Don't. I don't want to open up with that browser. Yeah. So anyway, y'all, I think you guys can see. What was I asking? Is that now? Don't you have to actually be convicted? You have to be convicted, or the due process has to go ahead.
I was wondering that.
Yeah, you got to go once due process and the case is closed. You can't try somebody for the same thing.
Yeah.
Right. So I guess they're trying to lean on double jeopardy. Am I getting that correct? They're trying to what's the word I'm looking for? Shield themselves with double jeopardy. Okay, but Hunter wasn't charged for these things, so double jeopardy doesn't it can't be applied. right? And if you're gonna pardon somebody for something, don't they actually had to have gone through due process and found guilty of these things?
Well, are you talking about Hunter Biden or the
Both.
preemptive pardons?
Both, yeah. You know, because Hunter's supposed to get this part. He's pardoned for the tax issue and the gun issue, right? And that's another admission. That's another admission. Y'all know that these policies are stupid.
Yep.
You know that they are. But but do I think, because you got a lot of, conservatives saying that, well, they should, exactly, these things, he shouldn't be brought up on charges for these things because they're stupid. We don't feel like we should have to incriminate ourselves to be able to get a gun and all that sort of stuff, right? But see, no, he should be charged. He should be, because he should answer to the laws that they imposed on us.
Yes.
Okay, guilty according to your own policies. Yeah. All right, so, but he hadn't been charged with these other things. So how are you going to pardon him for it? Don't you have to be charged? Don't you have to be convicted? But he's going to get a pardon for those things anyway. To me, that's an admission of guilt.
Right. It said, it named a whole list of things that he may have done, like sex trafficking. What were the others?
With Ukraine, bribery. So it's like you gonna list those things just in case those things may come up, because they really did happen, right? And from 2014 to 2024. Yeah, and now you're gonna do that for Liz Cheney and Dr. Fauci. Oh, come on. And Adam Schiff. Oh man, and yeah. I could see Rand Paul now. I know Rand could be like a bit of a weenie and stuff like that, but Rand Paul's like, I wish you would. I wish. It's like, man, no, you did. Boy, let me get it, Dr. Fauci. Let me get him. Right. So anyway, well, I guess we'll see how this turns out. And yeah. I'm hoping to the Lord. Hoping to the Lord, man, that this backfires on them, and it'll be like they'll even be shocked by people who will be like, you know what, man, no. Maybe you'll have some people having some Charlamagne moments, and be like, you know what, dude, no. Yeah. People, these elected officials, man, that they thought would be on their side of the aisle, just gonna be like, hell no, dude. You know what? Even I can't get behind that, man. Even a broken clock is right twice a day. Maybe they'll just have that moment and be like, no, dude. All right, y'all. That's what I got for you. That's my dose from the Zoloft for this evening. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. What's going on out?
Jay did have a couple of questions, and they're musically related, so I know you'll enjoy.
Ooh. I could probably hang on a minute for some music.
He says, which guitarist is better, Alex Lifeson of Rush, or Jimmy Page of Led Zeppelin? David Gilmour or Ace Frehley?
That's not fair. Okay, that's like you trying to get me canceled. Okay, so Alex Lifeson, Jimmy Page, who else?
David Gilmour.
David Gilmour. Okay.
Ace Frehley.
And Ace Frehley. Okay, I can't. I don't think anybody can give an answer in terms of who's better. I think that, because that's a very subjective question. There's guitar playing that I like better, like a particular style. I think maybe in terms of dexterity, and as a technician, a person who probably has a better grip of theory, even that might be even insulting to some of them, but more of a who applies more of these theories concerning the fretboard. I think that would go to life. I would side on Rush for that. That doesn't necessarily make him a better guitar player, though. But I think he would be the superlative in that route. In terms of who I would favor, I favor. Not saying he's the best, but I favor Gilmour's playing. His playing probably overall. So we Gilmour, Page. I remember it was like this short.
Frehley.
And Frehley.
Frehley, however you say.
Okay, I like Kiss. In terms of like guitar playing, I don't even. Not because Freely isn't good enough to be in that category. I just wouldn't be a good judge of that because I wouldn't categorize him in this grouping. And I guess maybe that doesn't sound fair, but it sounds stupid, like trying to explain why. But it's really bringing like it's like having like some ice cream and some donuts, and some cookies, comparing like which of those things that you would like better, and then throwing in a tomato. You know what I'm saying? I love tomatoes, right? I like tomatoes. And like Ace Frehley's guitar would be like, tomatoes. Like I like tomatoes, but in this grouping right here, to make the comparison of which it's like it would just be it's odd, It's for me, right? For you, it probably makes total sense. For me, it's kind of odd. So I hope that kind of answers the question. I overall, I think I like Gilmore's his style, but it also at the same time it depends on the mood. Because I like a little bit more of a heavier sound, a progressive, progressive rock and stuff like that. So I really like Rush, but it depends on saying because sometimes I might want to listen to me some Rush, or sometimes I might want to listen to a little Floyd. I might feel like listening to this. It's just a lot of that depends on the mood. In that mood, it's like, man, David Gilmour is like the best guitar player ever. Wow, I'm really feeling this right now. And then my mood may change, and I'd be like, man, I'm feeling Rush right now. So anyway, I hope that's that answer kind of cuts the mustard. All right, thank you guys so much, and thank you for the question. And I hope my answer was kind of entertaining. And maybe even enlightening. I got these sniffles, man, and you'd be surprised how much a snotty nose can interfere with you pronouncing your words. It does, like you see like characters, my nose is like really stuffed right now. Dude, I'm actually feeling that right now. Where I'm feeling like, and so thank you guys so much for tuning in. It's like, it's pathetic, man. Sickness, that's a sign of weakness. I ain't weak.
Oh, no.
I'm a man with the sniffles. So, really quick, Tropical Horseman, Terry Knowles, Williams, sorry if I'm saying you guys' name wrong. Iggy Towers, Frank C. Mitchell, thank you guys for popping in at the last minute, being tardy. But it's all good. You can stay tuned. If you come to bronzeserpentmedia.com, become a member, it's free. It just take a couple clicks of your time, like basically your email. And I won't spam you and all that sort of stuff. And pimp out your info. And come on over, populate the powwows. If you dig these presentations, y'all, come on over to bronzeserpentmedia.com. Drop that buck in the bucket to keep your bro Zoe on the go. I could use the support, man. We're trying to grow our media company and do our part to infiltrate the culture with creative vehicles of promoting these Bible-based values. These values got to be based on something, man. They can't be based on our self-righteous ideas, man. They got to be based on something fixed and eternal, and that's the word of God. That's how we gonna do it. Anyway, did somebody have one more thing?
Yeah, real quick. Sledge-o-matic.
Sledge-o-matic.
John Entwistle, hands down.
John Entwistle. Oh man, who's he from? Entwistle. Who's he from?
Put it in the chat real quick.
John Entwistle. Oh man, that sounds familiar. I can't think of who it is. And y'all, I know y'all are probably embarrassed for me because like, come on, so you don't know who John Entwistle is? Sometimes I may know the band, I may know the work. Sometimes I may not know the names. But hopefully I'll leave it in the comments section. I'll check it out. But now
is he from the Who? Because it says
no, that John Entwistle. No, that's Townsend. It's from the Who. John Entwistle. Can't think of who that is.
Because the Who came up when I Googled John Entwistle. Yeah, the Who.
Now, really quick.
Original bass guitarist.
Who?
John Entwistle from the Who's original bass.
Oh,
guitarist.
okay. We went from guitar to bass guitar. Okay, but I guess it should be fair. Shouldn't I disclose like who my favorite? I don't have a favorite guitar player. I have favorites.
I actually was wondering who your favorite guitar player is, but you don't have one?
I couldn't give you one. But my favorite guitar players, to name a few, George Benson, if you listen to George Benson stuff, like I know people are probably more familiar with his more, top 40 stuff, but man, you go into like his other session stuff, mind blowing, right? He's an amazing guitar player. And there's other, but probably, people that, guitar players that people aren't as familiar with, but, some more underground guitar players who are really, really amazing. But yeah, George Benson is a favorite. I really like Eddie's, Eddie Van Halen style of playing. Alex Skolnick from Testament. Oh, I love his guitar playing. Let's see, Ty Tabor from King's X. Him and Reb Beach, I think his name. They kind of remind me of each other with their playing. Distinct playing, but at the same time, it's like their playing reminds me of each other. So yeah, those would be like some of my favorite guitar players, and I know that there's so many that I could list who I think are like, and y'all, there's amazing guitar players like today. This new generation of guitar, they're doing amazing. But I'm talking about people who have like inspired and influenced, right? The icons of guitar playing, people who have inspired these people to play. Those are the kind of guitar players that I'm talking about, who are like, who are just really, amazing. At what they do. Just trendsetters, standard, trailblazers as far as, guitar playing goes. Those would be some of my favorites. And I know that there's some others that I'm most likely leaving out, and I don't need to, but, there's somebody else.
Yeah, Caleb P. And I wouldn't hold you over, but he did go over to the website and sign up.
Nice!
So, he has a question. We're going to read it.
Okay.
So, what are your thoughts on AI?
Oh.
Is it scary?
Oh man. Okay. You just. I tell you what. Can we revisit that one?
It's a deep subject.
It's a deep subject, right?
We could put this for the first question on Monday.
Yeah, we could.
Live stream.
Yeah, if you can hang in there with us, because we've talked about it, several times, and if I get to talking about it, man, I'm gonna go, right? And I don't know, maybe at this point I'm so well practiced at it, maybe I could cover it in a couple minutes, but.
Now you go deep.
Yeah, that's right. That's profundus. Zoloftus profundus, right? Anyway, y'all, thank you guys so much. Hey, I see Hero Stuff Bro. Our dude James popped in. Thank you so much for tuning in with us on the Instagrams, and thank you guys on the YouTubes and at my website. You guys are the grooviest, and we will talk again soon. Bye. Dang it. Yeah. I want to take a mulligan because I always mess up my outro, man, because I keep forgetting to position my out button where it's supposed to be. So that way, when I say bye, I can just hit that button and it just goes off, But instead, I'm like, I'll see you guys the next time. You guys have a great weekend. Where's my button so I can say bye? But instead, I should just be able to say bye, and it just goes.